Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Brainstorm Brewery. We are back for another week. Jason's cracking another beer, and he's a couple in, I gotta say, because before this podcast, we're streaming. We've talked about it for years, and we're finally doing it at least every other week on our YouTube channel. We will be streaming, and in this case, we embarrass ourselves at some Overcooked. So probably not going to turn this into an Overcooked podcast anytime soon.
We were overconfident in our overcooking, and you should oversubscribe.
I will say that
be over.
We were about as bad as I thought we would be, honestly. I thought that we were pretty poor. So that makes sense. But welcome into the show, everybody. We have a bit of a special episode for you today. We are going to clean out the emails. We've got some that have been floating around for a while, and we've had a series of guests and set reviews and special episodes on recently, so we haven't had a chance to clean it out. But today, we make up for it. We catch up on all of the emails. But first, let's do some Substitution. Everyone's favorite segment where we take a card that is expensive and give you some options for replacing it. So today, we're looking at Mystical...
And there's the added benefit of us bringing up in a video, which means it'll immediately get reprinted.
Yes, that seems to be the way it's going, as we talk about a card and then it gets reprinted. This week, we want to look at Mystical Tutor. It is an expensive $20 tutor. Everyone knows what it does. In my play group, it most often grabs Temporal Mastery and puts it on top of the deck. But if you cannot afford a Mystical Tutor, there are some budget options, and that's what we want to tackle in today's Sudden Substitution.
I like Merchant Scroll.
So Mystical Tutor, of course, it's 1 blue and an instant. Put an instant or sorcery on top of your deck. What does Merchant Scroll do?
Merchant Scroll searches for a blue instant and puts it into your hand for 1 and a blue. It can get you your Mystical Tutor,
it sure
which can then get you your Temporal Mastery, and then you can have everyone else at the table just roll their eyes.
No, I think it has to be this card, Merchant Scroll, fetching Mystical Tutor, fetching Demonic Tutor,
fetching Vampiric Tutor. Storm counts at 4.
Storm count is 4, and then
Storm count, sure.
Then you kill them with Aetherflux Reservoir. You just had a big old circle of tutors, and then you just blast them.
I have seen someone Mystical Tutor for Demonic Tutor before to go get an Urborg or Coffers or whatever.
But yeah, I mean the Merchant Scroll is only $3 or $4, and there's a Judge promo that's a lot cheaper in Europe. If that's your fancy.
I'm sure every game of competitive EDH is Mystical Tutor for Demonic Tutor for like a couple of coffers.
No, that doesn't win on turn 0.
On turn 1 somehow.
Yeah.
All right. What's your pick? What's your pick, Corbin?
I'm gonna go with a dirt cheap option here. Mystical Teachings. This is actually really cool because it's a card that does a bunch of stuff. So it is blue-black. You are kind of locked into that. But 4 mana, search your deck for a instant card or card with flash and put it into your hand. It's an instant itself. You can do this on their instep. And then you can flash it back for 6 mana, 5 and a black. So this is a card that has been competitively playable in multiple times, a Teachings deck, as they would say. Fallen out of favor recently, but a very powerful card and a card that does a lot of the same things that Mystical Tutor does in Commander. And it has flashback. And it's like a penny. Jason, what do you got?
Card's not a penny.
Mystical Teachings? It's very cheap.
No, my card's not a penny.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
My card is somewhere between Mystical Teachings and Tutor.
Okay.
If you had thought about this and got it when it was a little cheaper, that would have figured into your long-term plans. Huh?
5 out of 7.
I'll take it. That's a perfect score.
It is a perfect score.
You know what else is a perfect score? Playing long-term plans in a deck that's capable of drawing a couple cards, because this doesn't put it on top, but it does put it 3 cards from the top. And it's an instant, so you can set yourself up to draw it on your turn, just like you would a Mystical Tutor. It's in a lot of blue decks, it's pretty trivial to draw down a couple of cards and fish out the cards you set there with long-term plans. Mm-hmm. This is an uncommon from Scourge, and it's about $4. So it's it's not quite a penny. It's not quite whatever Mystical Tutor is right now.
But it does search for any card, which is nice.
Yeah. It's
that actually is nice.
Which is not the bluest thing ever. So, for a lot of reasons. This is played in quite a few EDH decks. So that's really boosted it over the last couple years. And I don't know. Long-term plans, I think this is planning on trying to go to $10 if it's not reprinted. So this is a card I might get in on now.
Cheaper than Mystical Tutor by about half, but perhaps on its way up as well. That's a card that definitely probably get reprinted at some point in the future. But for now,
you say that, but they're like, now we got to reprint Champion of Landmaul a 40th time.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, there you go, everybody. If you're looking to replace Mystical Tutor with a budget option, I guess it wouldn't be replaced in that case. If you're just trying to add a budget option into your deck, there's some options. So good luck.
Sudden Substitution, Fade to Black.
Fade to Black. Oh, that was great. Well,
that can't be our. I'm sorry, I'm vetoing that theme song.
You didn't like the theme song?
I think if we're gonna do a substitution theme song, there has to be a keyboard solo.
JJ can add in a generic one.
Could you add one in from the School of Rock, maybe? Just like the scene.
Look, every memorable song has got a keyboard solo. And I think if we use the one from that John Bon Jovi song about how she's a little runaway or whatever, I don't think people would notice.
Yeah, except
who's going to bat for Bon Jovi? Who's going to be like, oh, I recognize that. That's Bon Jovi. It's like, really? Are you a 47-year-old woman driving a minivan that you recognize a Bon Jovi tune? Like, no one's going to cop to that.
Well, he's also like busy being a good person and working in a soup kitchen, right? So he doesn't have time to copyright us.
That's right. He's not going to say anything. We're not Donald Trump using his song at a rally. So if like we're doing anything less than that, we'll be okay.
There's only one small flaw with the plan here, fam. YouTube scrapes it automatically. I know this because
we can slow it by 25%.
I know this because I had back when I was working for TCG Player, I had a video get pulled down because I was listening to country music in my headphones, and apparently there was just enough bleed over that it got into the microphone that only if you turned the volume up essentially all the way could you even start to hear it. At which point I was just drowning you, right? And because this was so tiny compared to how loud I was, because it was just picking it up in a tiny little background. But it was enough for YouTube to catch it with their algorithm and take my videos down. So I'm with you. We're gonna have to find out some way. Maybe if we add one note in, like they did to Ice Ice Baby.
We will slow it down by 25%.
That's
perfect. YouTube will not catch that.
Yeah, and this is going to be a great song for Sudden Substitution.
Yeah. I
don't know anything about this song, but I'm on board.
No, nobody.
I'm picking up.
Cool.
I don't know the song.
I got a reference.
You know what? I'm in.
How do you not?
I got a reference.
You had a bullet. Isn't that close enough to country for you?
The only Bon Jovi song I know is "It's My Life."
Why? Because.
And I assume let me look at Bon Jovi songs. There's got to be something. I don't actually know Bon Jovi.
Quite the discography. Man, if you were white trash in the 80s.
Oh, okay. Hold up. Living on a Prayer, and It's My Life.
That's
These
it.
are songs I probably know. You Give Love a Bad Name. Is that Bon Jovi?
Is it called Shot Through the Heart, or is it called You Give Love a Bad Name?
I don't know. It looks like, according to Google, it's called You Give Love a Bad Name. All right, so I guess I know a couple of these. Oh, Shot Through the Heart appears to be another song.
Bad Medicine?
I mean, that sounds like one I probably heard. Okay, I didn't know I knew this much Bon Jovi. Is Bon Jovi a thing? Is Bon Jovi acceptable, Jason? Or is Bon Jovi,
Bon Jovi
solely the domain of 50-year-old?
Bon Jovi he's the worst. But to a lot of people, he was the thing.
I understand.
Like, if you were super white trash in the 80s, like if you saw that Whitesnake video with Tawny Katane on the hood of that trashy car, and you're like, yeah, that's who I want to be.
That was She's My Cherry Pie. Was that the song?
That was Warrant, but okay.
Not the song then. What's the song that was referenced in that Bowling for Soup song?
The way you know things is the worst. Like, I'm embarrassed by the way I know things, but I wouldn't want to admit that I know the way things you know things. Bowling for soup? Jesus.
You're 12 when you're 12. I don't know, man.
When
White
you're
Snake.
12, you're
What's
12.
the car? Isn't it White Snake? Would they have it on the car?
Yeah.
Yeah, because like the mom went in the 1982 in 19. I'm sorry, the song is 1985.
Oh, 1985. I do know the song you're talking about. Jesus.
Yeah, and he wants to do the thing on wants to shake her ass on the hood of White Snake's car. So is that not what the video you were referring to?
That's exactly the video,
right.
but like I don't like how you got it right.
This is how you do trivia, right? It's how your brain works with trivia. You just start putting different facts together so that something will trigger it in your mind. So I knew that song by Bowling for Soup pretty well, so it worked out.
None of what you said was incorrect, so
yeah. All right, let's move right on past that into Breaking Bulk.
Breaking Bulk time. Breaking Bulk time. Break.
Oh yeah, Breaking Bulk. There's so much good stuff.
It's a pick. Breaking Bulk. The end.
All segments are better with songs. I think that's just the way it works. So here we go. Breaking Bulk. It's everyone's favorite game. I'm going to start. I think this one's easy. However, we'll see. Theros Beyond Death. Uncommon.
This won't be easy because I have not gotten like Theros cards because of the quarantine.
I know it's great. Theros Beyond Death, green uncommon.
Is it the?
What set is Theros Beyond Death?
Is it the creatures can't be, the enchantments can't be countered thing?
No.
Is it the Nylia's Sparkle showcase card?
He just says no. He doesn't even wait.
It's nothing. Nothing to do with that. No, it's not Nylia. It's just a green enchantment from the set.
Green enchantment.
It's actually the third most expensive uncommon or common in the set.
I mean,
I'm sorry, third most expensive non-rare or mythic card. Because the actual most expensive
Destiny Spinner.
No, it's not that.
That's what
the actual most expensive card in Theros Beyond Death is the Nightmare token from Ashiok.
Is it Hydra's Growth?
It is Hydra's Growth.
That sounds like it'd be a pick.
I definitely
based on the
100%
name
had to pull up a list of cards from that.
Yeah,
set.
I'm on the I can see. Yeah, this is
over
a
$1. Wow. So for those who don't know, Hydra's Growth is a 3-mana enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, put a 1/1 counter on enchanted creature. Beginning of your upkeep, double the counters on it.
I was not picking these.
No, this I'm surprised you wouldn't pick this. This reads as a very, very easy pick.
Yeah, but it's a Theros Beyond Death card.
Yeah, but I'd have to read all the text box.
I would not have thought this was a pick unless I just knew it was a pick from looking at sets.
Wow, that's surprising to me because if I'd never seen this card before in my life and I saw this coming across Bulk, I'd take this out because it has the word double on it.
Well, I mean, that's a good Staggering Insight, and this is worth 5 times as much as Staggering Insight, which is a staggering insight.
Well, I think the thing to learn there is we look at Staggering Insight and we're like, yeah, this card's really good. It's just powerful, right? Of course it's going to be worth money. Well, the fact of the matter is Staggering Insight isn't really played anywhere and doesn't really have a ton of casual appeal, whereas apparently the word double on a card means that it's very, very good. Now, you also think there's a recent Hydra Lord that they made. Some set of Hydra cards, there's a Hydra deck or whatever, and it kind of makes sense that Hydra's Growth would go into that deck, so that might explain why this
is a search engine optimization card, in that the average Timmy or Tammy or person who interacts with Magic only via the Google search engine is going to find this card very easily for that kind of deck and buy it on Amazon or whatever the algorithm spits out at them. They'll buy it on Troll, and so they don't care. They'll pay $1.99 for this card, not think twice.
Yep. Because they Googled Hydra Tribal.
They Googled
Commander.
Magic the Gathering Hydras, and they spelled Gathering with two E's or something like that.
Okay, just because they're new doesn't mean they can't spell.
Sorry,
DJ.
I don't
Come
understand.
What?
All right, Jason, what is your Breaking Bulk?
My Breaking Bulk is a black uncommon from Future Sight.
That's
Is it the Madness card? The one that returns a creature?
Gibbering
That might
Descent.
be common.
It is itself a creature.
No, never mind.
Is it
Is it Augur of
Wraith?
Skulls?
Is
It's
it
not
Street
Augur of
Wraith?
Skulls. Augur of Skulls is common. Street Wraith is common.
Black uncommon creature.
Black uncommon creature.
And freaking Future Sight.
Why don't you guys get your dicks right and come back with some better guesses?
Okay, great. I'll get right on that.
Well,
Is it a sliver or something?
it's not a sliver. Come on.
No, there.
I don't know. I mean, I can't sit here and tell you I can name off all the
Is
black
it?
uncommons and Future
Oh no, I know
Sight.
what it is. It's Stronghold Rats because it's discard
It is
stuff.
Stronghold Rats.
Ah, okay. I was about to guess
Because I know
Yixi
you've
and
picked this
Yeller.
before, but it's been a couple years.
Stronghold Rats is sweet.
Stronghold Rats is $2.
So it is. 3 mana with Shadow. It's a 2/1. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, each player discards a card.
You're dealing
Interesting.
combat damage with this in a game of 88. Like,
Not a lot of shadow blockers.
not a lot
running
of
around.
shadow, not a lot of maze of shadows to give your creatures shadow, not a lot of reality anchors to take Stronghold Rats.
Probably
I mean,
safe to say.
Reality Anchor does. It is a cantrip, so it is worth main decking in some decks. But most of the
Stronghold
time,
Rats
you're
is-
just going to eat this unblockable 2 damage, and you're just going to discard a card for your
So
turn.
what has made this card go from $1 at the beginning of the year to $2 now? Is there something pushing rats?
Tiny Bones!
Well, I mean, there's
Tiny
there's rats
Bones.
at the beginning
Tribal
of the
discard,
year.
I guess.
Yeah, they did the secret layer thing.
Yeah, they did do that also.
So
Yep.
But yeah, so like between like people building Ink Eyes decks out of nowhere and Marrow Knower,
Mm-hmm.
and then Tiny Bones like incentivizing discard, and not just discard, but discard for everybody.
So what is your thought on Tiny Bones as a commander card? Jason, is this a card we're going to see forever? Is it a flavor of the month? Like,
So
what's the
here's,
deal?
I think, the episode they're currently recording on the EDH Recast podcast, we pulled a ton of data. We queried the decks that like got built hard and fast and then fell way off, like Xyrus did. You know,
Yeah.
But I was like, dude, Xyrus is tight, and then it's like, oh, it's a boring wheels deck. This sucks. I built Xyrus and took it apart before I got my Commander 2020 decks in the mail. Like that's how long it took for me to get bored of a deck I never played. I kind of think Tiny Bones might be one of those decks.
Yeah, I mean,
So
the
I
thing
kind of
is,
think the damage it did
yeah,
is already done.
and the thing is, discard. While I love it, I have a Bolus deck, and I'm the flip one that makes people discard when it comes into play. I'm not someone who takes apart my decks, but a lot of my friends in my playgroup are, and they go through decks like this. And tribal discard, in addition to being challenging in Commander, just from my own experience, cards like Chulane exist. Sometimes like your Tatiova, like sometimes the commanders have so much value in them that even trying to play something like tribal discard is just ridiculously underpowered. But even more so, tribal discard is not an inherently enjoyable mechanic for anyone at the table.
But the thing about Tiny Bones is that your goal is not to empty their hand. Your goal is to make sure that you made them discard. So like the Chulane decks like are almost better for you because
if they always have
make
something
sure
to
they've
discard.
always got a card in hand to trigger, and then I mean 6 mana ability where you start nuking people with empty hands. Like I don't know, it just seems fairly irrelevant.
I agree. I mean, the card is very powerful, but what I was trying to get at, I think, is that it just no one really likes it when you play tribal discard.
Oh, certainly.
I will say,
like, that's going to impact whether or not people keep their Tiny Bones deck together when they sit down at the table and obliterate everyone with their Tiny Bones deck.
No one's going to do that because it's a $50 card, and people don't even really have it yet. Like, they couldn't even really pay $50 if they wanted to because of how delayed Jumpstart is. So,
yeah,
people are setting this stuff aside for the deck, but they haven't even really played it yet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I needed one for Sig, and it's going to take a while before I just find one in the wild that I'm willing to buy at an acceptable price.
Yeah, that's basically where I'm at too. One day I'll get a Tiny Bones. Maybe one day
all
they'll
the other
foil it
stuff
out.
people are setting aside, they're buying their Necrogen Mists and their Waste Snot
Mm-hmm.
and their Quandaries Painful.
That
and
card
they're
is
just,
great.
Sort of making a pile of all that stuff. So all that stuff's going up because it's buyable right now. So
Mm-hmm.
Like, you want to be in the I have some rats to sell people business.
Absolutely.
Right.
DJ, go ahead.
I have I was unable to guess both of yours in a timely manner.
Yeah, we're killing it this
It may
week.
be because I have not sorted bulk in a while, but I have a card that is very dear to my heart, and it was in the first commander deck I ever built. It is a Ravnica City of Guilds green uncommon with no reprints.
I did not play then.
The
so that
very
doesn't
first
help.
Ravnica?
Ravnica City of Guilds.
Perilous Forays?
Nope.
That's a good card.
I like
Perilous Forays has a reprint, I believe.
Yeah, shit.
No, it doesn't. Wow, I thought it was in the Gav commander deck, but I guess not. But no,
original Ravnica green card.
So your first deck, that's a hint because it was
yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure out here.
the artifact.
It was not Glissa. Right? My first commander deck was not Glissa.
Oh, I thought it was.
Nope.
Because you
I'm
wrote
just
that
trying
whole
to even-
essay about Glissa.
Okay, hold up. Let's try to think. What are good cards? And what was they had the Sprout theme, right? The stupid.
Yeah, it was Selesnya, and it was also
Selesnya Golgari.
and
They had-
Golgari. Yeah,
They had tokens, right? Sprout Swarm et al. Was that a? Am I getting that right?
I mean,
at all?
those were Future Sight cards.
is it
Those are Future
rotting
Sight, okay.
rolling spoil?
I do love that card, but no.
Is
Oh,
it?
yeah. Is it,
Caravan Caryatid?
Nope.
That's a good one. So it's mono green. It's not. I'm
Listen
remembering
to
the
how
set.
many green
I'm thinking
uncommons I'm naming out of this set. I've named like
Yeah.
That is
25
pretty
of them.
impressive.
Celestia Evangel is green white, correct?
And it's also a common.
Yes. Yeah.
Sure.
But this is a mono green uncommon creature.
Oh, it's a creature.
My
Craven
first deck I
Caryatid was a
ever
good guess.
finished building was Savra, Queen of the Golgari.
Is it Savra, Queen of the Golgari?
That's a rare
No.
Golgari creature, so
It's
no.
a rare.
Is it the green dredge card that gains you 2 life?
Nope. I'm gonna cut it off here, but it is no
Hang on, is it No Mage Shepherd?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got it.
Good job.
No Mage Shepherd
I don't know
is
what
a
this is.
4-mana 2/4 elf shaman,
Uh-huh.
and you can tap 4 untap creatures you control, destroy target artifact or enchantment. It's
Ah.
kind of like
Nuts.
it's like a second aura shards in a way. One of the biggest benefits of it is that you don't have to have it's not like Cryptolith, right, where the creatures have to be in
Right.
play for a turn. You can tap
Right.
summoning sick creatures to use this.
Mhm.
And then you can sacrifice them. So you can tap stuff, blow up stuff, sack it to Ashnod's altar or Phyrexian altar, get a lot of value that way.
Certainly very good in a token deck.
It's very
Speaking of
powerful
discard
stuff.
decks, I ran Perilous Forays and No Mage Shepherd in my Nath of the Guiltleaf deck.
Yeah, I mean,
You
you
get
can
Nice.
tokens when they discard it.
you can go crazy with stuff like Seedborn Muse and just start controlling the board there without having to use Aura Shards and playing creatures. Like it's a very powerful card that I
It
think
curves right into Seaborn Muse as well.
And you know what? Nobody on EDH Rec is putting this in anything. Like the most.
Does anyone
recent
know this
deck
card
that runs it is
exists?
Slimefoot.
No one knows this card exists.
I
I
actually
literally
I have a
didn't,
soft spot
maybe.
for it. I played it in Savra and then it just did a lot of work for me. I had a foil copy for forever and
Yeah. This card's almost $1. That's a nice pick. That
Oh,
I
you know
was-
what? No, people put this in Nylea Keeneyes and Xyrus the Writhing Storm. So like, it's a little older, but I really think people are still kind of aware of this. Like, it was a slam dunk in Nath of the Guiltleaf because it's an elf.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So
Now
you
that's a
could,
new
like-
card to me, and I like it. This is a nice one.
But like,
Anything with
people are
for
aware of
anyone
this
at home, I think that this is a card that I might have pulled out on my own just because it's repeatable destruction. So like DJ mentioned earlier, Hydra's Growth has the word double on it, and therefore it's worth looking at. Well, anything that's repeatable and repeatable for no mana is also worth looking at.
this
So
is
you're looking-
also 15 years old and worth less than.
well, it's a breaking bulk, but like, yeah, I mean, we're talking about picking bulk. Anything that has a repeatable effect on it is a good place to look. And that even applies to Hydra's Growth, right? It doubles every turn. And No Mage Shepherds can blow stuff up every turn. Nice pick. All right, it is time to bust open the email vault. Just as a reminder, if you liked any of the cards we talk about in that segment or any other, please check out our sponsor, channelfireball.com. They've always got promotions going on with the buy list or on the front side of the store when you're buying from them. Lots of great content. They support this podcast. We really appreciate that. So as always, a shout out to our sponsor, Channel Fireball. Please go check out their content and maybe look into TFB Pro if you're interested in that. That allows you to just send in a box and they'll do the rest in terms of buy listings. So it's worth considering, if nothing else. But now we teased it at the top of the episode, and it is time to clean out those emails. Go ahead, DJ. Let's get started.
So our first one is from Jordan. This is from earlier in this month, the July 6th. When is the best time to sell out? So not specifically regarding a collection, but just a specific card. Hey guys, I recently sold off a spec, and I was wondering if I sold out too early. When Fury Storm spiked due to Calamax, I buy listed my 100 copies at $1 each. I purchased them all from 50 cents to 75 cents each, so I know I made money, but should I have held out for longer for the card to go up more? I don't want to leave money on the table, but can this card go higher? Is there a set percentage or number y'all look for when selling? What metrics should we use to decide this? My Reddit posted pretty well, and I was going to post this to the BSB Discord. Since at only a few dollars per episode, I feel like I've gotten more than my money's worth by being a patron, but how else would an email get on the cast?
Well, first of all, thank you for subscribing to the Patreon. But secondly, I would say my personal metrics are, if I'm buy listing a spec, obviously I want to make money, but I take into account what the chart is doing. Does it look like it's just spiking? Does it look like it's not? And what's the buy list at? I need at least 60% to buy list, and you typically to really hope to make any money most of the time. So one of the ones I had recently was Toothy. The card, I got in on it pretty early as it was starting to go up, and it went to like $4 or $5 or something, but the buy list never caught up. So I just kept my copies. And now it's going back up again, and I suspect the buy list will follow this time, and I'll have them. So for me, it's not as simple as, did I make money, did I not make money? It's a little more, what do I think this card is going to do, and what am I into it for, and will I make money at this point? So you shouldn't feel bad about making money, even if it's not a lot.
A lot of the time, for something like Calamax, where it's more of a flash in the pan, I am happy to just get out the second I see a movement. The second I see a flicker of a pulse, it's like, oh, people are hyped about this, and they won't be 3 weeks from now because the shiny new thing will be something else. Get out.
And the thing is, when you're buy listing, so much of that is driven by an algorithm that the best time to buy list it is when other people are buying it and the store doesn't have them in stock. Which sometimes, that's happening sort of in real time. If you wait until the price is actually spiked and you say, oh, the card's done climbing, it's $5 now, I'm going to buy list them. Well, but it's done climbing because people are done buying them. And the buy list price, therefore, may not be as high as you want it to be.
Yes. Next up.
So the thing is, like, the buy list price does not move as often as the retail price. So people see the retail price move a couple times, and they're like, oh, but the buy list price hasn't moved at all. So
the final thing to note on this is that, much like Jason talks about, when you buy a spec and then the price doesn't go up, you can buy cheaper copies to lower your average version. It also works in reverse. If the price is going up on something and you have 100 copies of them and you pay between 50 and 75 cents and you can get $1, heck, sell 60 of them. You've made your money back. The rest of those 40 copies in your hands are now free. Hold them, do whatever you want with them, wait on it. But you can mitigate your risk on the way up just like you can on the way down. All right, next email, DJ.
All right, next one is Historic versus Pioneer from Chris. Hey, Brew Crew, DJ said emailing is more reliable these days, and you sent this
probably true.
Less than 2 weeks ago, so I'm going to say it is. I'd like to hear you guys discuss whether or not you think historic staples are worth buying in paper. Hear me out. Historic is, sometimes it's hard to tell what's legal in that format if you don't play it. Because it is a very specific cultivated list of what Wizards puts into the format. They will take random singles and put them in, take them out. So it's a very arena-centric format. With the current environment, I think a lot of more people are playing Historic on Arena than Pioneer on MTGO, and that enough that when things get back to normal, that Historic supplants Pioneer as the interesting new format. P.S. Wizards would likely support this as it saves them having to go back and add older sets to Arena.
I think Wizards' goal is going to be to eventually get them all on Arena anyways. They don't want Magic Online to exist. Let me rephrase. It makes more sense for Wizards of the Coast to have one flagship online program, not two. And as we can see, we've been able to play with Power 9 on Arena. They can put cards in. I would, I would not base anything on they're not going to put old cards on Arena, because I think that is not true.
I think that there are a lot of old cards that they will never put on Arena, but I think that's specifically why Historic has been their route, so that they can cherry pick.
Yes, but it is my belief that they eventually want Pioneer and Modern to be playable on there, at least Pioneer probably.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. They're working their way back. They announced that they're releasing Amonkhet Remastered. They're gonna do stuff like that. They want they want the cards to continue getting onto Arena, new cards. So for Historic specifically, I think it's actually the most exciting format in Magic right now. There's a lot of cool stuff. There's this crazy Goblin deck, but the way it works on Arena is they release these cultivated card lists, maybe like a bundle of 20 cards that's going to drop into Arena for Historic only. And it's powerful stuff, Fauna Shaman, stuff that isn't in Standard, but older and does stuff. So I think that's pretty cool, actually. They put Ulamog into the format as well. They try to develop some archetypes. I will say that I do not see Historic supplanting Pioneer in paper because it's a Magic Online, it's an Arena only format, which the issue is how do you explain and make paper tournaments based on, well, it goes back through this set, but also here's another 80 cards that are legal and they were printed 15 years ago. That's not, I don't see that happening. It might still be worth it to buy some of the cards, right? Because if they're good in Historic, that probably means something about the card in general. But also, doesn't just because it's a mainly Magic Arena format doesn't mean there won't be some people playing it in paper, which would cause the prices to go up. So I'm not rushing. I don't think the next wave is to go buy the Goblins deck or whatever is the best deck in Historic right now. But, so I'm not completely off it, but I'm not exactly excited about the idea of Historic in paper.
All right. This one's a little longer, but we have patron question from Shane. $20 patron, first time caller. I haven't felt the need to write in an email because ignoring your listeners has always made for a great cast, and I have literally nothing of worth to add until now. By this time, okay. I'm sure everyone knows about the Oubliette reprint with phasing instead of its faceless butcher-esque O-ring text. This is the most recent functional errata that goes hand in hand with the rules adjustment of phasing so that sweet young Timothy doesn't lose his vampire tokens to Teferi's protection and quit forever. Totally justified. How do you all feel about this? We have known that they are willing to reprint functionally identical versions of reserve list cards, but clunky and wordy versions have always been pseudo-reserve list because of their unwillingness to tolerate poor formatting, strange gameplay, or confusing new players, and that's why they made Mutate so easy to understand. Is Pauper now the driver of MTG reprints and game design?
Based on your one data point? No, dog.
I will say that I really enjoy their willingness to expand into functional errata. The companion redesign.
But I disagree with the notion that Pauper's the driver. I think selling booster packs is the driver.
I was actually I'm completely on board with that email until we get to the part about Pauper, because I think everything else there was very well said and very smart and matches what's going on. But I don't know.
I was using the Socratic method. Stop roasting me for my
this card is because of Pauper, obviously Oubliette.
Yeah. But yeah, I really enjoy their willingness to explore functional errata, especially with like the companion rework. I like them changing phasing to make it so that your tokens stay. I like them cleaning up words that have been a source of confusion and frustration for players. Like if they can make Animate Dead not have the Odyssey on it, that'd be great. Even if it made the card work a little differently, that's fine. If it means they can reprint it meaningfully in a future set that doesn't have 7 paragraphs.
Yeah, I think that, and this makes sense if you kind of think about it. Inside of Wizards, there's got to be a contingent of people whose goal is to make the old cards work again.
Yes.
There's a lot of cards in Magic history that sort of disappeared because they either don't work or blah, blah, blah. They're not powerful enough. They're just weird. And you're right. I actually love this to Oubliette. In this case, yes, it was obviously driven by the fact that is a very playable card in Pauper. But if you're going to, you either reprint some horrific version of that card, or you just fix it. You kind of fix it to make it work the way it was supposed to work.
I'm
all about that kind of.
I have a lot longer tangent / discussion / rant that I want to go in over this. But I will save that.
Put it on the schedule for next week.
It's a 3,000 word article entitled "Impulse Used to Shuffle."
Well, no. It's actually like a larger discussion on like game balance and balanceable cards versus unbalanceable and fixing like the dials you use to turn cards and stuff like that. But again, I will save that. It's a good question, Shane. Thank you.
All right, next one, DJ.
All right, up next we have Double Masters patron question from Joseph. Hey Brew Crew, I'll be cracking some sealed product of Double Masters, some cards I need for personal collection, others I want to move. When will be the best time to move in demand rares, mythics, and foils? How do I factor in price rebounding, price memory, supply demand, etc.? Sell into the hype.
This is so hard because because of the pandemic. It's so hard to try to guess what peak supply is or what that even means.
I think you still just try to move cards as quickly as possible and liquidate capital and just like act as though you are in a more normal situation, because like the fundamental goal is to like open Magic cards, and then the ones that you're not using you want to liquidate as soon as possible to free up capital to buy more things to make more money. And I think that core concept and principle just stands true above any sort of coin flippy dice rolly guessing game that you're getting into with future card prices moving in which general direction.
Yeah, I think that's mostly true. Jason, what do you think about that question sort of in regards to Double Masters? Just sell right away, even if the prices are a little lower because it's not worth holding them? Or do you think that this is a set worth holding on to for a long time?
I think that, so when normal supply hits in a big wad and everyone's going to the LGS to draft and all that stuff, like you're getting your supply, we talk about the price falls to where peak supply is. We call peak supply when people stop drafting the set, right? When something new comes along and,
or maybe like 2 months after, right? Sure. Yeah,
like
it's obviously tails off.
People's enthusiasm for cracking packs of the set wanes, like on a national or worldwide scale, where like everybody moves on to the next thing, so copies are stopped getting injected into the market. Prices are going to be affected much differently this time around because like stuff's late, stuff is allocated, so it's going to come much slower. And when stuff hits in a big wad, it makes a huge dent, and then you kind of crawl out of that dent, but there's not going to be a dent. It's going to be little pebbles hitting, and it's not going to be enough to depress the price a lot. So I think we're going to have a lot of expensive copies.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I don't think the price is ever going to get hit because like there's going to be so much demand for so little supply, and the supply is going to come in drips and drabs that like every little bit of supply that hits is going to get soaked up, and then there's going to be a pause before the next bit of supply hits. So I kind of think that this is going to fulfill their goal of increasing availability, but not really lowering prices. So
right.
I kind of think like the fact that you have time means you have time, right? Like I think you can hold to see what happens, but like I still don't think you
and it
need
also
to hold on to stuff.
Yeah, and it also depends on your out, right? Sometimes buy lists on new stuff, even if the cards are expensive, can be terrible because they just opened all of theirs and they have plenty in stock. So that's just kind of something to keep an eye on too if you're looking at buy listing, as opposed to say just flipping in some other method. All right, do we have any more?
All right, here we have moving a kilo of sealed product from Hunter. Hey, Brew Crew.
Kilo? Are the uncut cards? Like,
I've only ever heard kilo when mentioning drugs.
You've never heard of the metric system, ever.
No, but we don't say kilo.
No one says kilos unless you're talking about drugs.
You don't say...
In fact, I'm thinking of specifically Talladega Nights. Jason is learning how my brain interacts with things. I'm thinking about Homeboy and Talladega Nights telling Will Ferrell he's got a kilo of whatever strapped to the bottom of the car. Anybody? Great movie.
Because we don't say kilogram, you say kilogram. So like if you're okay, you know what?
Is it drugs? It's magic cards. It's drugs. Go ahead anyways. That's fine. Yeah.
It's drugs.
Long-time listener, first-time emailer here. I have a question about sealed product. In my previous pre-kids life in New York, I acquired a bunch of booster boxes with the intention of eventually drafting them with my playgroup. Since then, my wife and I have had 2 kids and moved from Brooklyn to Orange County to now Seattle. Long story short, I've got a ton of unopened booster boxes rotting in my closet that I can't imagine I'll ever get through in terms of drafting. But what should I do?
Congrats.
I've got a fair amount of good stuff. Rise of the Eldrazi, a box of almost every Masters product, OG Innistrad, Cons, Modern Horizons, and yes, even a box of Oath of the Gatewatch. I'm probably going to use this for kindling. Hey, that could have, what's the most expensive expedition in there? Wasteland? Could have a Wasteland in it. I know that the received wisdom used to be to sit on sealed product forever, that it'll only go up but I know that's changed in
No.
recent years. Should I sell the boxes? Continue to sit on them? Crack them? If I end up selling them, what's the best way to sell them so that I don't get killed on fees and shipping? Thanks much. Always dig the show. If you don't read my email, I will make sure Corbin never writes for Overwatch League ever again.
Who is this email from?
Hunter Slatton.
Okay, this makes more sense now.
Slayton Slatton.
Hunter, no. Anyways, Hunter's a long-time listener. He's great. Let's tackle the question though.
So
what's the best way to get
as
rid
a
of the sealed
general
product?
rule, the best way to move most sealed products is through Facebook groups. I understand that a lot of people have long since not used Facebook, but it is still unfortunately the best method to move sealed product as of right now. There's a lot of individual Facebook groups that you can get on. You just price your stuff at like whatever you'd get on eBay minus fees. eBay is the other best way to move sealed product, but eBay and Facebook, you just price it at whatever you'd get minus fees, eBay minus 10%, and then a lot of it moves. I've moved a lot of sealed product through Facebook in the past 6 months or so. It's effective, it is clean, it's not my favorite way, but
I just eBay all my sealed shit. It goes so fast.
I'm going to throw one more option out there. I mean, look, these are the best options, I think, in terms of your money. But if you're looking for something a little simpler, may not work in COVID times per se, but if you had a local game store that you frequented, for instance, you could probably get them, you could approach them because they might have an interest in throwing a flashback draft and, a Modern Masters 1 set, right? I don't know what you paid on it, but in a different time, there are stores who could get people to easily pay $40 or whatever to do a Modern Masters draft. So you could I say partner. You could basically like throw it out to a store and see if they'll buy some of those boxes for you for like 80% because it's free money to them after that to run something they would not otherwise have. That's a possibility.
I will add in one more method. Again, this is dependent on your relationship with an LGS, etc., but it is probably the most cost effective for them, and if you're not in a rush, it can work out well for you. You can have the LGS pack it out for you and just like have it on the shelf, put it at X dollars per pack, and with this you actually get a premium. So let's say you would get like $6.50 or $7 for the Rise of the Eldrazi box. You can pack it out so that you'll get like $7.50 or so, $7.50 divided by 36 or whatever, and then price it out per pack because it's a lot easier to get players to just buy like, oh, I got $20 F&M credit. I'll use it on. Should I use it on 3 packs of whatever the standard set? Or cool, I can get a Rise of the Eldrazi pack. I'll get that. So you can pack it out and then give your LGS like 10 or 15%, and like they don't have to put the capital up front. They get to slowly eke in the money as the packs sell, and then so do you. So there's no upfront capital required for it because most local game stores can't be like, oh yeah, I'll just drop 500 on a box of Rise of the Eldrazi that'll sit here forever. But they're much more willing to be like, yeah, I can leave this on the shelf. It looks cool. It's attractive. Like, and it works both ways that way.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So a couple options there. And of course, if you ever do get to do it with your friends, you can charge them to, if they're interested. Like this is something
in pre-COVID times. I think it was back in like November or something. I fired a Time Spiral draft. I was just like $80 per person. It's Time Spiral, and we actually got 8 people, and it was super fun.
Yeah, that sort of thing is cool. Okay, next email, DJ.
This one is from Joseph, just titled Patron Email. Hey, Brew Crew, non-finance question incoming. In the past, you've all offered some cool insights into how the game can and should be played. DJ identified Thantis and making everyone attack as a good thing to encourage. Jason has said people have more fun when decks are at a 75% power level. And Corbin, I have no idea what you said. Do you have any novel nuggets of wisdom for EDH or other formats? Thanks, you all rule. Sent for my Tamagotchi.
Well, I cannot answer that question in a meaningful way at all, but I can say this. Adam Staborski and I were trying to help everyone in Discord last weekend who was working with us get the real experience of working an event. We were working the Players Tour Final. Everything's virtual. It's a whole different experience. So we wanted to make sure that everyone didn't miss out on the stupid Corbin Stibbs argument that happens all the time at shows. So what he said is, why do people accept Seedborn Muse in Commander? And he said, if Wilderness Reclamation is so bad in Standard, why do people accept Seaborn Muse in Commander? And I replied, it's because they were forced to suffer through Prophet of Kruphix. So there's your hot take on Commander right now.
My hot take on Commander is there's no deck that wouldn't be made better by running Helm of Possession.
What does Home of Possession do?
You sack a creature to gain control of a creature.
It's an artifact for 4 mana. You pay 2 and tap it, sacrifice a creature. You may gain control of target creature as long as this remains tapped. I used to play that in Sovereign too, but I eventually got
That's
it.
a cool card.
Screw Oubliette, like, you want to deal with their commander? Take it. Take it with every deck, and every deck could use a sack outlet. Like, you did it.
This is actually cool. I did not know that.
I don't understand why this isn't run more.
Yeah.
So, like, if people
cool.
like accuse me of trying to pump into, if I were capable of pumping and dumping a card, this would be $100 already, because this card is old as hell.
Tempest, as a matter of fact. That's a neat card.
Good card's amazing. I don't get why it's not run more. Doesn't make any sense.
Huh.
Yeah.
All right.
So, I mean, I think you already covered my personal theory as to how you can make Commander more enjoyable, and that's just to encourage combat damage and just raw resource trading and just aggressive gameplay to end, make games interactive more from the start. I think Commander is really less enjoyable when there's this mutual friendly handshake to like spend the first 5 turns of the game exclusively playing Soul Rings, Mana Rocks, Rhystic Studies, Pillow Forts, Ghostly Prisons, and then somebody plays like a Sun Titan and starts generating absurd amounts of value. I really enjoy Commander when it's like, okay, it's turn 2, I'm attacking with Skullbriar, let's go. And let's just start fighting. Or my commander is Sig, let's attack you. Or I'm playing Stoneforge to get an offensive equipment that I'm going to put on a creature, and then I'm going to Sword of Feast and Famine you and start generating value immediately. And Thantis kind of leans into that, where I think the game is more entertaining and enjoyable for all parties during each turn of the game, whereas like there's no Bant value deck generating 6 to 10-minute turns, and everyone's like, I guess I'll go smoke. I guess I'll check on the bread that's baking, and where somebody just F6s a bunch. Like when there's always a combat step and somebody's always attacking, everybody is always more immersed and more invested in the game, I think. And then all my commander decks represent that, except Gonti. But I mean, Gonti's
but here's what I'd add on to that, DJ. It sounds to me like what you're saying is, at a basic level, games are better when there's more interaction. And while the combat step is a very clear way to create that interaction, so is Gonti. So is removal. So is counter magic. So are lots of cards that aren't mana rocks and 12 drops, you know?
For sure. I mean, like my 4 decks right now are Selenia, which is a very risk-reward all-in gamble combo deck, where it's like, if you have Lightning Bolt, I die, but if you don't, I'm going to pull this wacky Soul Foundry combo and kill you. And then I have Thantis, I have Sig, River Cutthroat, Tribal Rogues, then I have Gonti. So all of my decks, I try to focus very heavily on just like making sure that multiple phases and interaction between players matter, and just I always want to be able to attack during my combat step, basically, except for Selenia, but that's different.
No, I mean, I think that's great. And my group has actually encountered a problem where our games are going too long because people are running too much interaction. And I gotta say, it's a problem I'm loving having right now.
And then
it's
someone
much
plays Skullstorm and you got to soft ban
it. Well, it's not so, we're not going to rehash that, but we have all purposefully powered down our decks in terms of the win conditions. And I think it's 75%. It's what DJ said, interaction's better. It's the same thing. We all agree that this is what makes Commander really enjoyable, is that powering down your decks and playing more interaction, taking out a combo piece and putting it in a Doomblade goes a long way to making your games more enjoyable.
Yes.
All right. Do we have any more emails, or is it do we make it through the mailbag?
We can do this one. This one's just titled Noob, N-E-W-B, from Joshua. Hey, Brew Crew, just started playing Magic around War of the Spark. I'm a little late to the game.
Wow, we have a new listener.
No, you're not late to Magic.
We have a new listener. A War of the Spark listener.
War of the Spark was 2 years ago, man.
Yeah, but that's when we did GP Indianapolis.
That's true.
Yeah.
I was wondering if you guys had a quote schedule of what people should be doing. More specifically, what's something daily, weekly, monthly, and yearly I could be doing to improving my MTG finance game. Thanks for all your time and thanks for all the advice you guys put out. Totally trying to start stuff. DJ seems approachable. Everyone's probably scared of Jason, and I feel bad for Corbin because it seems like you guys pick on him, but I also want to punch him in the face.
Well, that checks out.
I'm approachable.
Daily, check MTG Stocks interest page.
Yes. Daily, start a TCG player store, even if you don't have a lot to even if you don't have a lot to sell, right? Even if you have like minimal amount of cards you're interested in buying and selling, it's very helpful to be ready and available and have the active tools ready to just be like, oh wait, this card in my collection is worth 3 times as much as it was 3 weeks ago, and then just like list it for its super inflated price. Have the top loaders and envelopes and stamps ready to just drop it off in the post office, and then make your free $30 or whatever.
Sure.
So just daily, like, have access to those systems and mechanics ready to just like.
Well, yeah, and what you're saying is you don't have to run a TCG.
Right. You don't have to have this operation going where you're shipping out 50
to
orders every day. It's just optimal to have a system in place for if you want to take advantage of a price increase or decrease.
Yeah. Weekly?
Listen to this podcast. And
other
podcasts.
article.
Follow people on Twitter. There's like 15 people on Twitter who are mind-blowingly better at this than everyone else, and none of them are me. And follow those people. Like, we just had one of them on the cast last week.
Yeah.
Yep.
Every monthly? I'm gonna skip monthly for now.
Weekly,
I'll tackle
read my article.
Like, dig through.
Monthly, read my article 4 times.
I'll tackle yearly. You should pick your bulk. You should pick your binders. You should pick your decks. You should pick your rares. You will have things that have moved that you did not even know about. So if you're somebody who doesn't want, me, I usually just pick the bulk and then sell it. I have plenty of bulk sitting in my house. I want to get rid of it. But if you're someone who actually enjoys their Magic collection, not that I don't, but if you're somebody who actually enjoys their Magic collection and having access to all of those cards, should you ever need them, yearly, spend a day or two reorganizing, picking your bulk. I'll say this, monthly, then don't be afraid to take a deep dive per se. So one of the things I like to do is when I buy list cards, some nights I'll just, if I'm in a hurry, etc., I'll just buy list. I'm moving the cards, I'm putting them in the list, getting rid of them, selling them, making my money, moving on. Other times I'll say, you know what, I want to dig into this. And then every card I go through, I look it up on MTG Stocks. I look at the graph. I make up an idea for what it's doing. I look at the set it's in. I just spend some time with the numbers, and you just learn things you didn't know before, or things you didn't realize you missed. Even if you're looking at the interest page of MTG Stocks every single day, you're going to miss things. And that's why yearly, you pick your bulk, you'll find it. But even maybe monthly, just maybe take a deep dive on a set you don't know about. Maybe spend some time researching the buy list price of reprints on some of your new stuff. See what the trends on it are. I have a pile of cards that I don't like the buy list price on. I just set it aside and I try again in a couple months. And you just kind of get to see if maybe the buy list never moves on this type of card. And maybe, you can figure out the reasons why, or, oh, this card jumped. But I do that every couple months just to kind of check in on stuff.
Yep.
Anything else you all want to add here? Obviously, we're all put on the spot, and we're all just, I guarantee we're all just looking around our room going, what is it I do?
Just get good.
I think establishing connections is a big one. If you plan on really just turning this into a side hustle, I guess is the best way to put it, and having it be a reliable source of medium level income that you can use to support some other thing you do. Just making connections all across the world, like, it's not difficult, especially with Twitter and mostly Twitter, Reddit, I guess, to a degree too, but and podcasts and all that stuff. Like, just Discord is the other big one. Discord and Twitter. Just like meet people in other areas, and just have outs for things. And by outs, I just mean like have a basic land guy who will take all your basic lands because he does some wacky thing on eBay with them. Have somebody who can buy cards for you in Europe. Have somebody you can ship stuff to in Japan. Just have connections and have people who have access to more information than you do, and infuse that into your knowledge.
Yeah, because that's
just true for like everything, right? That's true for literally everything you could do to want to better yourself in the world, is to just listen to people who know more than you. But I mean, it's just worth saying. Well,
and those connections come back later, right? It may be X thing now, but later that person, now they've had a positive interaction with you, and maybe they have a locally, this is the thing that happens. So I got a collection I want to buy, but I can't afford it. Do you want to go halvesies on it with me? That sort of stuff. The opportunities come around when you make those connections. Like DJ said, it's just good life advice.
Yeah, that's how you end up flying to Atlanta and playing EDH until 3 a.m. and yeah.
All right. Well, I think that does it.
Last year.
I think that does it for emails this week. Keep them coming. brainstormbrew@gmail.com. We do say that we will always read the Patreon emails first. However, anybody out there, if you're not able to support the Patreon at patreon.com/BSB, that's okay. Send us your email.
Hit a like on the YouTube button.
You hit a like on the YouTube button. But brainstormbrew@gmail.com if you want to send in any emails. Ask us anything. As you saw, we tackled a wide range of questions tonight. So ask us almost anything.
Quick pick of the week. Quick of the week.
Pick of the week. Pick of the week. Pick of the week. Time for the pick of the week.
Quick of the week. Okay, I got a quick of the week for you, DJ. Dowsing Dagger out of Ixalan. It's a flip card, transform card. It's a 2-mana equipment. When it enters the battlefield, your opponents get plants. You get to give a creature +2/+1. None of this really matters. What matters is that when the equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, you transform Dowsing Dagger into the Lost Veil, which taps add 3 mana of any one color to your mana pool. It's $2 right now. It's starting to climb a little bit. Big fan of getting into this flip card from Ixalan. The flip card makes it harder to reprint, of course. Not impossible, but harder. And it took some time, but this build your own Gilded Lotus has started to climb back up.
I used to play this in Archangel Avacyn, partially because you could flip her easily and just smash the tokens you give them.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, that's the quote unquote trick with this card, right? Is in Commander, it's especially good because you can have one opponent make the plants and then hit someone else. But also you just put it on an evasive creature. But yeah, $2 right now. Big fan.
Love it.
I got a card that I can't believe is below $5 on every site.
Is it Helm of Possession?
No, but
also yes, but also
yeah, yes, and I might just buy every Helm of Possession on the internet, and then when the price goes up, everyone's gonna be like, "Why did this happen?" And they'll just ignore EDH rec data and the fact that I've been talking about it forever. I'm just going to take all your Patreon money that you spent going to patreon.com/BSB. And for as little as $20 a month, which is $4 or $5 an episode, you can have these brand new drinking glasses that I'm drinking out of tonight for the first time. I just got 13 50-pound packages dropped off at my home today, so I'm looking forward to that. We are sending the Q1 and Q2 $20 tier bonuses out together.
Because COVID ruined everything. But
yeah, everything. But if you want to get subscribed for the Q3 bonus, whatever that might be, go to patreon.com/BSB. And you will give us some money, and we will use some of that on the great production value on the YouTube video, buying ourselves better equipment, or just buying every Helm of Possession on the internet. Now, if you don't want to spend your money that way and you would rather keep your money for speccing, that's fine, because I've got one that is under $5, and that's, even though it was just mystery boosted, that seems incorrect. I think Tireless Tracker is a card that should not be under $5 basically ever, unless it's reprinted 3 times in a calendar year. If Tireless Tracker was not printed 3 times in a calendar year and it's below $5, buy it, especially because we are going back to Zendikar, and they've already told us that there's going to be a Blacklist Omnath.
Mm-hmm.
So there will be a Lands Matter commander that is going to be very popular.
It's a Lands Matter set, actually. Yeah. So, yeah.
So, Tireless Tracker below $5, just it doesn't Tireless Track for me.
There you go. On that incredible pun, I think we'll leave it for this week. Anything else you all want to say or announce before we get out of here?
Hello, I am DJ. My pick of the week is Hour of Promise. It is very good and underpriced at just $1.05 market price. Forget about the zombies. This doesn't just ramp you, it gets you the 2 best lands out of your deck and sometimes even a combo like Herborg and Coffers. Why am I talking funny? I am not. It is your headphones that are messed up. I am being very normal. Summary: ramp card powerful. Hour of Devastation 80 years ago. Card can be good again. Beep boop.
All right. Well, there you go,
It's been a long
everybody.
cast. It's been a very informative cast. We got some banger after hours out of it. We did a 2-hour
did.
stream of Overcooked. It's
I've
been
been
a
drinking for the last 4 hours.
productive
It
night.
has
It's
been
a
an
productive
yeah.
night.
I gotta say, it's been a very productive night for us on this podcast.
I've been sitting on a
so-
medicine ball this entire time, so I've been working out too.
Yeah, I mean, if everyone doesn't know, we'll shout it out again. We are doing streams on our YouTube channel. Go check it out, Brainstorm Brewery on YouTube. Everybody, thank you so much for listening. As always, for the rest of the crew, I'm Corbin. We'll see you next week.
I'm DJ. Skype sound.